You know, the way I look at it, it was a very interesting point in time that this all happened, because as users were migrating off of tape, but we had a strong LTO presence, we needed something to draw them back in. And this was a very nice, simplistic way to say, here's a great, simple, easy way to get to tape. You can tag your files, you can access them directly, you can search on them. That's what customers were looking for, and that's what, you know, that's what really answers the question of that problem is LTFS. So it was a win-win at the point where people were migrating away from tape. It was a way to draw them back in and show them once again how simplistic tape is to use.
And I think another factor is IBM really does have a commitment to open source, and this is another form of that commitment. We thought about the adoption of Linux as a way to, you know, we wanted the same thing for LTFS, so we went the same route. File name integrity is intact. It's put in the metadata on the metadata track of the in the LTFS standard. Okay. But you know, we also have a lot of media asset managers as partners who are further providing for the integrity of both the data and the file names and so forth. If you have a file on a tape cartridge that is long enough, it pays you to put it on tape instead of disk. And the reason is, even though there's an initial 30, 45 second, 90 second, whatever you may call it, time to first byte, by the time you've read the entire file, tape with its better streaming rates will be faster than an access to disk.
And look at it this way.
Overall.
In this world of unstructured data, when you've got, you know, now we're no longer talking about gigabytes, we're talking about petabytes and exabytes of data. You cannot afford to keep that kind of data on spinning disk. So with LTFS, you get quick access, fairly quick access to that data for those long reads. You know, you're streaming that at better than disk speeds. With a single tape drive, once you get that cartridge loaded, you can actually stream that data at better than disk speed. So you've got better than disk speed at a price of 1/10 the cost of disk with simplified access. This is why LTFS makes sense.
Just like you mentioned, LTFS LE gives you file system access to as many cartridges as you want at a time. The problem that does present, as you mentioned, is say I want to have a directory structure that I define and it's not mappable to subdirectories called cartridge IDs. So what EE solves that problem. It's actually two things. It's the user definable namespace, so you can have whatever directory structure you want. And the second thing is it addresses this tiering problem that people are asking for in operational storage. Yeah. So you have a large operational storage system, and they know that half of that, 60, 70% of that, those files are static and not changing. And the question is, why do you need to keep them on disk? They can't get their users to clean the closets out. The problem is, if you want to move that data, you have to move it from this mount point to that mount point, and all the application stack has to change, and now know that the file that was over there is now over here. What really we need to do is to have, we talked about those storage islands where they're disparate. Right. We need them to be under the same mount point. Right. And then you use user-based policies to say, this file hasn't been touched in a year, I'm going to put it on LTFS, and then the namespace remains unchanged, so nothing above the stack, nothing in the client space has to change at all. Yeah, that's the value prop of where we're headed with this idea of creating true tiering at a file basis.
This basic building block of technology opens up a whole new world, a whole new set of possibilities for people to think about how to reinvigorate the use of tape. You know, this technology that's now just seen its 60th birthday, May 21st of 1952, suddenly has a whole new rebirth to it. Don't think of this as the birthday of tape, think of this as the rebirth of tape with LTFS.